Right, so what we have here is a bike that we built for Jami. So this is, we build our bikes in families, and this is in the shovel family, El Lobo style. So he wanted a shovel, like a bare bone shovel, so it's kick only, doesn't have a starter on it. And let's run through what we've done on the bike. So this frame that we have here is a donor frame from a standard shovel, where we did a couple things too. So we lowered the seating position with a casting that we got from John from Hardtail choppers in the US, which gives you a really nice line to come down here. As a consequence, your oil bag will sit lower, so we now have our own oil bag in here, which is aluminum with spun domes, and then we have underneath here a little battery. Even though it's kick only, you need a battery for your headlight. Then we run down to the back. This swing arm wouldn't sit parallel to the ground if you didn't use this particular CNC casting. So it's not really a casting, it's CNC'd out of billet stainless. Jeff Cochran from Speedking Cycles allows us to use these on our own builds. We don't sell them, but we can use them on our own builds, and he's kind of the designer of this, so lots of credit to Jeff Cochran on that one. So that's the frame. Then moving to basically the most important things on all these bikes is the drivetrain. We used the shovel bottom end on this, so this is the original bottom end down from the donor bike. It's been completely apart, polished, and then everything going up from that is Speed and Science. So we have Speed and Science cylinders, Speed and Science heads, and Speed and Science rocker boxes, all out of billet aluminum. The nice thing about what Speed and Science does, besides the fact that it's just a really cool company to work with, is that you can run all internal EVOs in these engines. So all your oil goes through your push rods, so you don't have any external oil lines, which keeps it super clean. Jami wanted kick only and a mag. He has some affinity with racing where he used a lot of mags, so we stuck a Morris Magneto on here. Again, best product you can buy when it comes to mags. Has a standard shovel box behind it. We didn't do anything to it except that we completely refurbished it, polished the cases of it. It looks spectacular, but internally still like the original. And then Speed Dealer hydraulic clutch cover, which allows us to run the hydraulic line all the way through the frame. So if you look at the handlebars, you don't see any external lines because they all pop into the handlebar here, then they run down the handlebar, they pop out here, then they pop back in the frame, they run all the way down the back tube, down the post, and then pop out the bottom and then connect here. So that keeps it super clean. So that's the drivetrain on this side, and then if you walk over to the other side, normally we use sscycle performance drives. In this case, the customer opted for a BDL drive, so this is a nice old school belt BDL drive. And that finishes the drivetrain. Then if we look at the rest of the components on this bike, we have a titanium exhaust on the other side, and we have a Super E carb with a nice little carbon velocity stack that we make ourselves, and just as the exhaust, because that's made by Panda in-house. Titanium, so it's going to really nicely color when it heats up, which if you look at the bike, the frame is chrome X'd. There's a lot of chrome powder coat on the bike, so a little bit of color that exhaust is going to get is going to nicely set it off. Wheels, these wheels are made by Paul from Demeanor Customs together with us. We're going to be carrying these wheels in-house, so if you need invaders made, we'll be building these together with Paul. Paul will make all the parts and we'll be welding them up in-house. So we've got a 21-inch in the rear, we've got a 16-inch in the back. Shinko, old school rubbers on them, although modern technology in the tires, but they look old school. What pops on the bike obviously is the paint job. So the paint was done by Luke from LA Coatings. Awesome guy, I can't praise him enough. He does all our paint work, always on time. It's I can't say enough good things about the guy. And then a seat that kind of looks like a Paul Cox seat, so we took some inspiration from Paul, but this one was made by Tom from East County Customs, a local guy that made that seat for us, with a little bit of red to match the paint. And then to continue the whole story, there are so many parts that we make in-house. I'll go through just a few of them. We bend our own handlebars. We do that on our CT Newman jig. So that's made in-house. Triple trees, headlight, the forward controls, but we go as neurotic as making our own hinges because we want hinges to have no play in them. And so we decided to spend way too much time on designing our own hinges. But we make our own upper suspension mounts with our little spaces here just to make it look all super clean. Fender struts made in-house. Yeah, so I can go on and on and on. The kickstand. So when we do these builds, basically 90% of the bike you can't just buy. Either we make it, or like the engine, we build it with all these separate components. So you're really going to get a one-off custom that's going to stand out. Because of this particular engine, it will handle like an Evo. So obviously not twin cam, not M8, but it will be a lot sprucier than the old Shovelheads. So what we've done is we've done the complete build. It starts on kick. It needs a good shakedown ride, so we need to make sure that everything that we think we tightened well is actually tightened up, which means that shit is going to come off, and then we'll Loctite it back into place. Once we've done all of that, it can go to Jami, and then he'll hopefully be as happy as we are building this, riding it. So again, we built these in families. We have one slot open in this particular family where we use a shovel as a donor, and we built them kind of in this style. We have another family where we built the frame out of stainless steel. Video may not necessarily show the difference very well, but this is a Chromex frame. The stainless steel frames are all stainless steel, built on a jig. So that's a different family. Yeah, I think that's just about all I can say about this bike. I think it's time to kickstart and ride this thing and see what falls off.